there is a beauty in doing that work and becoming unplugged, and realizing that it's all on you. And that's another thing. It's all on you.
And that's the problem.
You're listening to this podcast, you're getting gems. It's great. But now you've got to take what we're all saying here,
do the work,
and you've got to start doing the work.
Talking about, like, taking the responsibility. That's the problem with this world today. No one wants to take the responsibility. We all just want to blame someone else, but not fix ourselves.
About to go downtown.
Downtown, hey!
Downtown. You about to go downtown.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome to another week's episode of Downtown World with your girl, Kay. Don't waste no time with negativity. And I'm very, very, very excited for this conversation today because y'all know how I feel about my Toronto people, especially when they're melanated and they're of the same sex. So shout outs to Carcia and Telly, the HerCastleGirls from It's All Connected by the HerCastleGirls podcast with me today. Hi guys.
Hello, Kay.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much for having us, girl.
And I am honored to have you guys. As soon as I seen Telly's page, because that's the first one that hit my algorithm, like I was just dive in and I was like, no, I'm shooting my shot in the DMs. And let's just say
girl,
a girl's DM game is strong.
The DM game is strong. And it's funny too, because I was going through and I was like, oh, how did I miss this? So I went back and I
felt that way about you guys.
I felt that way after I was introduced to your social medias. I was like, how did this
go over my head?
Yeah, how did this get over the radar that I have?
It was like a rabbit hole. As soon as I found it, I was like, just video after video. I was like, what? I was like, nah, now I'm addicted.
Oh my God.
We are addicted to you.
Amazing content.
You're amazing. Your content is fantastic. It's just really uplifting and it's encouraging. Girl, keep doing it.
No, that's truly a blessing, and that does a lot to me more than you guys know. And the more people know my story, like they really know how much that really means for me. So thank you to both of you. I really, really love what you guys are doing and the transparency you share on your podcast, and of course the fact that you guys are actual sisters and working together. And I just want to dive into as much as I can today.
Yeah, please.
Here at Downtown World, we say eat fruit and mind your business. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best, but it's all for the betterment, I feel, of everyone today. So I'm excited.
Absolutely.
So without hesitation, I want to ask you guys, what brought on your guys' shared interest in the podcast space?
It's funny with the podcast. To be honest, I think you got into podcasts more first than you started. She wouldn't stop talking about podcasts.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like the last person on the planet to know about podcasts. I guess it was like around 20, way before the panorama.
Way before the panorama.
The panini, as I like to
call
it.
Way before the panini. Before that.
You're a bit of patron. I just like fell in love with the idea of storytelling and podcasts. That's what I saw it as. I saw it as a way to share stories, and I would listen to all sorts, the crime dramas, the funny things, the whatevers. And people started saying to me, oh, why don't you do a podcast? Your voice is you've got one of those voices for it. And
so calming.
And
she's very calm.
Have you heard of Dr. Joy?
Dr.
Joy?
Her
podcast. Have you heard of Dr. Joy?
Dr. Joy.
Yes.
If not, I'm gonna send her a link. But honestly, if I fuck around and not listen too carefully, I could like mix the two of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Carcia and Dr. Joy. No lie.
No,
I'll send you a link for her podcast because that's when you should definitely.
Okay.
In the same vein, but yes.
That's hilarious.
But that's
so cool.
The thing is that, our start in content creation was very fashion based. And the thing is with fashion, as much as obviously still love fashion, but we couldn't talk about it, in a way where it felt like we were doing something that was worthwhile. And I don't want to say that people that talk about fashion aren't worthwhile.
I know what you're saying.
But once I got into podcasts and people said you should start one, it was more of a matter of, well, what could we put out there that's going to add to the space?
Right.
We just don't want this to be a vanity thing.
Right.
We want this to be something where people are going to find value in what we talk about.
Right.
So that's where that journey sort of started.
Yeah. And it didn't really like to say start until 2020, when no one else had anything to do but focus on keeping sane. So that's where the podcast was pretty much born. And when we took our time as well, we didn't just rush into something and started jibber jabbering. Like, we took our time. Carcia is an NLP practitioner. I always have.
I was going to get into that later.
We'll get into that later, but
let everyone know what that stands for, so that the whole time they're not like, huh?
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So Neurolinguistic programming.
Yeah.
It's a therapy based on your neurosystem, and during 2020, I started delving more so deeply into
that
mindset studies, spirituality. And because I was doing so much studying, I thought I need to put this stuff somewhere.
Yeah.
And I would just talk. Anyone that asked me, I would talk and talk and talk. And I was like, wait a minute. That's something that I can talk about for at least 30 minutes. And then, of course, Telly being my sister, we lived together. So she started reading what I was reading and watching what I was watching. And she's like, this is interesting. And then we started having conversations. And our conversations, literally one day, I just went to the phone and clicked record and recorded the conversation. And
that's pretty much
how the podcast was born.
I really, really love that story, because you can have all different ranges and types of like sibling relationships, thank God, like I am the only girl out of the three of us and the baby, but mana tugs, okay? But I guess that comes with having two older brothers, but as well, like, it's just, we have a really they're literally my best friends. Like, my life would be weird without, like, we actually talk to each other and like crack jokes, and like it's not just that's my like blood, like, nah, we're really friends, and like laugh at people in the world. It's great.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Right. So I love to see the dynamic and the respect between you two. Can you speak on maybe, because of course fights come, it's not always perfect, but speak on how each of you were able to, have that level of respect for each other? Because I love even the way Carcia expressed, how you, Telly, would be just naturally interested into what your sister was in, and, you led through that information with her. So what led to that like respect level that you guys have for each other?
It's funny. I want to say maturity, like, because as we were talking about before, it wasn't always like this. It was very interesting beforehand. But
who's older?
Carcia's older.
I'm older by 2 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm like you. I'm the baby of the family as well. So right. Squad, but the baby squad. But yeah. And she always makes fun of me for being the little one of the family.
Right.
But it's funny, I guess because naturally, and I'm not sure, I guess maybe it's just a natural thing, because when the saying is monkey see, monkey do, or, you see someone do something and you see that you're with them all the time, you just naturally kind of just follow them. And the respect, I guess, I don't know, just inbred it somehow.
Yeah.
It's just
for me, the respect I have for Telly is truly just based on, she is so good at some things that I am not good at all.
And vice versa.
And I find that we just, kind of flow into our natural, just our natural being when we work together. And I love to see her in her vibe doing her thing. And then she like leaves me to, I will be like, I will go write all the research notes for the show this week. And
I don't interfere.
And I will go do that. I don't, and then she will
it.
work on all the other
I'll work on
moving
everything
parts
else.
because she is good at communicating, emailing back, figuring out this and that and the other thing. And I am the, I'm kind of the artsy one that will be like, I will go draw this, and
she'll go in her.
I will go on Photoshop and and I do all of that. So I think the respect comes from the ego, and we even
not having one.
Not having such an ego where it's like, I'm going to do it all on my own.
No,
I tell people all the time, listen, the stuff we do, it would not be possible if it was just one of us.
No.
There's just too much for one person. So I think knowing how much work it takes, we respect each other, and even if we disagree, we don't react, we respond.
But back in the day, we used to react, girls.
Give the bar one more time. We don't. See, I knew y'all were gonna come with it. See, give them the bar one more time, okay?
Yeah, we don't react, we respond.
There's a difference.
There is a difference.
There is a difference.
As you know, reaction is very emotional based.
Yes. The fight or flight.
Fight or flight. I have to do everything right now to prove that I'm right. And then you have the response where you walked away for even 30 seconds and you thought about the other person's situation. You think about, where do I want to be from here? Tomorrow, do I still want to have a sister? Do I still want to have a friend? Do I want this relationship to see Christmas? Yes. Okay. So we're going to go back with a response that is serving for both of us, not for myself.
No, I really love that. And I can sense that dynamic through looking through your guys' content, the visuals, the video clips, the wording choice. Like, I get all that from it. So I'm happy that, I wasn't just being, push up, and that really is what's happening between the two of you.
Yes.
One of my favorite books that I've read this year so far, and I feel like it's definitely one of my top 5 books in my life, is Jay Shetty, Think Like a Monk. That book has been doing everything, and one of my key, are we having
we're having a Holy Ghost moment right now.
A Holy Ghost
moment.
Yeah, I got through the audio book. I'm now reading the book again.
You have to forever and ever.
It's great.
Amazing. It's like a reference to
so
life.
I won't even waste your time. There's so many things in that book that I love, but something that I've implemented the most so far into my regular life is the concept of, having your to-do list, but then also having your to-be list,
Yeah.
And I'll be transparent with you guys. What I have, I'm actually going through my planner right now. Okay. This week on my need to be list, I have, I need to be hydrated. I need to be kind. I need to be positive. I need to be organized, and I need to be supportive. What are some of the things that you feel like the HerCastle girls need to be?
Definitely need to be supportive, because, when she's going through it, I want to make sure that I'm strong to lift her up, and vice versa. So need to be supportive. Definitely need to be hydrated because these streets, Canadian weather is taking a toll on the face. So you need to stay hydrated. Yes. Yeah, girl.
I would say need to, and I write this in my journal often, and that is always lead in peace and love. And I know that for some that's a bit woo-woo and a bit hippity-dippity, but it's a matter of truly when you decide to be, and that's a big theme as well, that whole to be, you're really owning and embodying and integrating that, right?
Yeah.
And to say something like, I am going to lead in love today, or I'm going to be supportive today.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hydrated today. Those pieces, you're really speaking, to your subconscious mind, saying, these are the things that I'm going to do because I'm going to be better today and every day. Sure, even if you fail at it, because we all do, we're human beings, so that's natural. But the idea that you had the intention to do it, that is where the power is.
And it's not really failing, it's a learning.
No, yeah, it's a learning.
You're learning from what didn't work, and you just pick up and you try again.
Yeah.
And don't be so hard on yourself, girl. Because honestly, the list that's to be is way more important than the to-do list. You're useless if you're not taking care of yourself first. You can't pour into anyone else's cup if your cup is dry. So the to-be list is
so important.
First and foremost.
Like, I wish that like the ecstaticness, like I've done like about like 60 million cartwheels and like fist pumps, like trying to not look too crazy, because like you guys are given like everything. And it's just like, it just gets me so like excited. I'm a huge nerd that way, but like everything.
Don't worry, not a nerd. We're here with you.
No, we love the joy.
We love the joy.
Oh man. Everything you guys have said. On my other show, shout outs to Killa, Eat Free Pod, we were discussing that clip that had gone out with Unplugged China. And I know it wasn't fully, regular behavior, etc. But aside from that, I brought that up to say, like, I've always been saying, especially now with everything slowly opening back up and slowly getting back to a new normal, I really have to be mindful of practicing grace and like making that a part of my lifestyle, like exiting out this door. It's like embracing all of that, because if we get up every day and we're just embracing the negative, how are we to now expect that positivity is going to meet us outside? So even I gave a silly example of like, before I was definitely that person in the parking lot. I saw it first, too bad. But now go ahead, get it. I need to park further and lose a couple more calories anyways. Sorry about that, ladies. So I really, really loved it when you say that. And as Black people as well, and women in the corporate space, especially in Toronto, like there's so many ways that we can relate, where it's just like automatically, it's not passionate, it's aggressive. Automatically, we're giving all these words that we really don't use to describe ourselves. So even more as a Black person, I feel like I have to be extra delicate to make sure others are not threatened by me or the aura I give.
Oh, girl, too true. Too true. I felt that. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
we gonna have church today.
Girl, hallelujah.
We go, okay.
It's so here's the thing, and I'm sure that there are many Black women
in that space
that can understand what we're talking about. And especially when you were the only Black girl in
the minority hire, girl speak.
Oh yeah, the golden child. You were the unicorn,
Black unicorn
that was gonna come and make the company be diverse, and they would take pictures of you and
put you there,
put you on the website because it looks good.
But you're treated like crap.
The recruitment. But you're treated like crap, and you're paid less,
and
you're told that you're too sensitive.
Yes.
And
when you even voice your opinion, you're told you're too aggressive.
Yes.
You have to work 10 times harder than everyone else
to get no
love
recognition or credit for anything you do. So it is definitely, it's very hard, to wake up in the morning. And I actually ask myself these days, how did I do that? How did I wake up in the morning with my negative thoughts and just go to this toxic workplace every day? And how did I do that?
The questions.
Yes. How did I do that? God, because I look back now and I'm like, if it wasn't for my mindset practice and the routines, I wouldn't even be able to live in, and now I'm in a much better space. I'm not at that place anymore. But I wonder how I survived it, because
and you know what? I don't know I don't even know if I have an answer that could even really answer that, because I wish I knew.
It could go.
I also feel like because our bodies are so used to feeling negativity, you just naturally wake up, naturally go to the job you can't stand.
Yeah, you're like, I feel
because you know
so
you're going to get paid either way. So you're doing it for the money, but your soul isn't being fulfilled. You're just you're like a zombie, basically. You're going into work, you're taking the abuse, taking in everyone's bad energy, and you're so used to feeling that way. Like there was one lady I used to work with, and even on her days off, she would be calling the office nonstop. And I just be there. I don't work at this place anymore either, but I just be there after I hang up the phone with her. And I'm like, why does this girl just enjoy her day off? You're not here. Enjoy
why? You know why? I literally just cussed my mom. Yes, I cussed my mama about the same thing.
Oh, really?
About the same thing. And she's in over a year of retirement. Like she's not retired, but like she could be.
Yeah.
It's like that. And I had the conversation where I said, you are conditioned.
That's it.
And with the pandemic, especially for Black people, and I'm not racist. Everybody knows I love everybody, but I can speak on only my experience.
Absolutely. Right.
And
absolutely.
we have been conditioned that our time isn't ours, conditioned that you go somewhere, and conditioned that there's some inkling where our parents and our family members, knowing that we have a uniform or we're going somewhere to check in, makes them feel as if they have done their job correctly.
That's it. It all ties back to slavery.
You know what? Yeah, I do want to, and this is why, again, Black people, and I say this on It's All Connected by HerCastleGirls, probably every episode. And I say, Black people, we all need therapy. Every single one of us. We need to go see, and it can be any kind. You can go, and I've seen all of them too. I've done the talk therapy. I've done, I've done like the mindset work. I've done all of this stuff. And we have, ancestral DNA that is not serving us.
Nope.
So like you said, because you're wearing the uniform or because you have the check-in card, your mom and dad, your great grandparents, and everybody is so happy because their Black child has a job.
But they're not thinking about,
we have ancestral DNA.
Yes.
That is not good for us.
No.
And holding us back.
We are living in, we are saying to ourselves, oh, we're lucky to have a job. We're so lucky.
Putting our mental health aside.
Yeah, we're so lucky that we get to sit on the train for 3 hours to get paid minimum wage today. And
get told off in the process.
And then still get told that you're not smart enough or good enough to be promoted or to be your own business person or to do whatever. So once we own that, and that's what, mindset work, spiritual work, that's what it's about. It's about being aware of where you're at. And the awareness is, for instance, me, I am a educated Black woman who thought that as long as she got an education and spoke with a Canadian accent. She would be full on accepted.
It's a lie.
It's not true.
It's all a lie. We've all been tricked.
Right?
Straight up and down.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that is, and if I'm aware of that, it's like, okay, I'm aware of it. So now I know what I need to do. I need to start accepting me as I am.
That's it.
And I have to start loving myself first. And once I start loving myself enough, the other people around me that could care less about me, they're going to distance themselves because they'll see that I'm paying them no mind.
Exactly.
Right. And right now we see a lot of Black people sort of just taking a lot that they don't need to take on. But they're never going to realize the change needs to happen until they do the work.
Well, that's the thing, because our people, we don't like therapy. We have this thing where it's like, call on Jesus. But while you're there calling on Jesus, Jesus is saying to everyone else, get therapy.
Well, I want to remind
and nothing
people,
is wrong with therapy.
And I want to remind people too, like Jesus told us to meditate.
He told us to meditate.
It's biblical, right? So we should be meditating. We should be sitting down and talking through our problems, talking through our issues with a third party that is not our auntie or our mom. We should try to find ways to take the baggage off, because we've got it. And I know that there are people out there, well, I just read what I read in books about but I'm like, no, it's in there. It's in your DNA. That depression of, being enslaved and being tortured and suppressed for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years.
Yeah. I would love to know from you guys, every single episode that you guys have dropped, I've listened to and like thoroughly enjoyed. And I really recommend, that's why I say I really appreciate the way you guys even have everything laid out. It's not, I don't want to say like, it's not time sensitive. Mm-hmm. You can go back and when you're ready to start that healing of the mind, tap into HerCastleGirls, and so much, I would love to get, we kind of briefly said it earlier, but you guys to speak on the idea of fair and how you've seen that like affect people during this panini or even yourselves.
The panini.
I'll say this before you start, I tweeted out and kind of made an episode based around it, was stop letting broken people break you.
I mean, everyone that's listening, just think on that.
To sink in. That's for somebody.
Write it down in a journal and really see what comes up, because that's another issue that we have within our community. And the one thing I notice is that when you hear that statement, don't let broken people, why are you going to people that are still working on their thing, counsel you? The thing is that people are always going to be working on themselves. And we know there is no destination. No. There's no destination to perfect mindset, perfect spiritual life, everything. There's no such thing. However, there are people that are aware of what is going on. And in our community, and I'm not saying I love my girlfriends. I love I love them. I love my guy friends. I love my parents. I love my, my aunts and uncles. However, I am aware of where they are coming from.
Right.
I am aware of the things that they need to work on that they haven't. I'm aware of what happens when I say, I noticed you didn't have a good relationship with your dad. Did you ever work through that? And they're like, nah, you know how Jamaicans go on.
Girl.
And then a bunch of words come out. And
they think they revert to you being a child and say, stay out of grown folks' business. And
right.
It's like, okay.
Right. Even though you're a grown adult, they tell you that you are a child.
Folks.
But to be transparent, like, even for myself, not to cut you, Carcia, because I definitely want you to continue where you're at. But even for myself, it wasn't until I could say maybe literally around when I started doing Downtown World, I even started realizing these things, realizing I could ask certain questions, realizing that, oh snap, when my grandpa died, I didn't see my mom cry about that. When I, and everything just started clicking, the more I'm growing into my womanhood. You know what I mean? But definitely I don't, I definitely don't cut you.
That whole piece.
Because I was so conditioned. So conditioned.
Yes. Conditioned to being seen and not heard. On one of our shows, we talk about Dr. Daniel Amen, and he has done some really good research on this idea of, DNA and how it carries emotional distress.
Yes.
And, one of the pieces that we found in doing this quiz was that, if left on, and we've done the work, but we did this test thinking, let's do it the way how we would have done it before, because things have changed. But in doing that, we realized that, it was traumatic for us to learn things about our family in our adulthood that we should have known, when we were like 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why that is like that. Oh, and it's a part of our community. I know, like, we're good at keeping the secrets. We're good at putting things under the rug. And, you're calling people aunties that are not your aunties. And, it's
they're
like,
your aunties,
okay, wait,
what?
your
mom.
Yeah. And it's like, that's actually your mom, and your sister is actually your mom. All of the stories, right?
All we're breaking all those generational curses.
Right.
All of them.
Exactly.
All of them.
And that's the good thing with this generation. I love to see people that look like me embracing wellness, embracing self-love, embracing a mindset and spiritual journey that's going to serve them, because we are the ones that are actually working on all of the stress that we carried with us from our great ancestors to now.
Yes, for sure.
And I do know, like, for us, we talk about all the time, like, sometimes, when you close your eyes and you're just meditating and you see your ancestors.
Yes.
And they're
it's yet to happen to me, but I cannot wait.
It's going to happen. It will happen to you.
It'll happen. And you'll be like, and they will be there in agreement with you.
Yes.
Saying, wow, this is what we wish we all.
I feel it. Yes. I feel it, but I haven't, like,
what? Not everyone is visual.
True. Because some people do feel it. Maybe like, you feel their presence.
Just as an example, like, one of my grandmothers, I love her. In Jamaica, she used to sell June plum and string bean in the market, in Coronation Market, for those of you who really know Jamaica. And, I remember the way she had a gold cap, and I remember how she'd always kind of tie up her headscarf. And the other day, I had my head tie. I call it head tie or headscarf. Tied, and I paused for a second. I was like, "Damn, you really look like your grandmother." And like, it's like I could feel, like, I can't describe it. And then I went in my phone and I looked at a picture of her, and I'm like, I know you never even, like, aspired or even, like, dreamt of these things, but I really hope you're proud of me. And I just felt, like, so strong to her in that moment, even though our time together was so short. But
that is it.
But that and that's it too. Exactly for people that, some of us are auditory, some of us we only hear, some of us are very kinesthetic, we feel, and some of us are visual. And I know we talk a lot about the visualizations because it's very easy to talk about, but some people don't do it. And I've met people and have worked with people that are more feelers and they sense presences and they sense things, and that's just as strong. It's just as powerful. I think that's incredible. And just you putting the tie head on, it's sort of like a that was sort of an anchor to bring you back to
that moment,
to her, and the greatness of her.
And I acknowledge, like, I share that to say, like, because I was definitely listening to everything you're saying. It's just like taking the time to acknowledge, like a couple of episodes ago spoke about checking your motives, everything you do, just ask yourself, take a little pause break, be present, so present that you really ask yourself, why did I just do that? Even down to ordering McDonald's on Uber Eats. Yes. Why did I just do that? Girl, there's food in the fridge. There's food in the cupboard. Like, I know, but for whatever reason, like, just checking my motives. And that was a moment that I said, ooh, yeah, I'm always tying my tie and whatever to keep my hair neat. But I never really, really asked myself, why am I always putting on, so just really being present, you know?
Yes, you're being present, you're being conscious, you're being aware. That's big.
So another part, I loved the episode that you guys spoke about this, but another part of me being present is realizing where my people pleasing came from. And, you know, we all have trauma, you know what I mean? And definitely, you know, trauma was a part of my childhood and a little bit of part of my adult life, you know, as most Black people, but we're still normalized by it. We don't realize how huge it was, but, you know, realizing the fear of getting beat or getting disciplined or for things that, like, to this day, I don't understand maybe why I had gotten disciplined to such a hard degree off of maybe not washing my underwear after my bathe as a child or something, you know, just simple, where even simple then as a young child, I could feel it was simple. And now in my adulthood, I'm like, oh, this is where some of this people-pleasing behavior is coming from, and especially manifesting and being out in my personal relationships with people and really not wanting to step on any toes. I don't want to bother you. I don't want to, like, that's my attitude towards so many things because I'm so that PTSD. Speak on, if you guys can, Telly and Carcia, about like people pleasing and the importance of acknowledging that and being aware of how dangerous that can be in our lives.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I think when being like yourself, Jamaican descent, it is fascinating that, you know, in our culture, it's known that, you know, children get slapped for anything, especially back in the day when it was really, now maybe I don't know how it is now, because, you know, we're grown and you're grown, but I'm sure there's a lot of children in Jamaica, they're like, no, nothing has changed. But I do feel, as we talk about even on our show, that it starts, Carcia has always told me, you know, from the age of 0 to 7, that's when a child's mind's developing, and that's the root of how your child is going to end up becoming successful, or maybe they'll have some issues growing up in life, whatever it may be. And unfortunately, as a kid, kids do things, kids make trouble, so of course they get slapped or they get beat. The only problem is, depending on that child, when they grow up, they figure, okay, like you were saying, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want that person to be mad at me. So I'm just going to do everything they say. So we're all notorious for being a people pleaser. You know, at work, I would go, I'd sit. If my manager gave me something to do, I would do it. Someone else would come and say, oh, Telly, do you? And I wouldn't say, oh, no, you know, I'm working on. I'd be like, sure, no problem. No problem. Until you have a stack of everything and anything, staying later than everyone else at work because you don't want to let the team down. When the team isn't even there, they've gone home to their families.
And they're gone to Earl's.
Yes,
drinking mules.
They're gone to Earl's to celebrate and watch the Raptors game while you're at work. Crying in the bathroom.
Third stall. That was my spot.
Girl. But that's it. And it's just funny how I would be the person that I go to the bathroom and then I'd say, okay, Chantel, that's my real name is Chantel, and I say, today's the day. Today, you're not going to take it. Today, you're going to go into work and you're going to stop people pleasing. And guys, the minute I walk through the door,
right away.
Hey, and it's like right over my head. Yeah, sure. Here, I'll. The abuse is so, it's just.
Yeah. And my thing with people pleasing, in that episode, it was like a two-parter because
it was heavy. It was heavy.
Yeah, pleasing and perfectionism.
Yes. Guilty of both. They usually go hand in hand.
They're like sisters.
Yeah, they do. They're twin sisters, as we like to call them. But what I find, you know, with society, is that society has set us up to be people pleasers. You know what I mean? People always say, oh, you always have to go back to the parents and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's not per se the parents' fault, but the problem is they're the ones that raised you.
They were conditioned that way too.
I'm sorry, they were responsible for you from the ages of 0 to 7. They built your subconscious. So because they built it, you have to go back to the source. And if they told you, the teacher says, do this, do that, you have to do whatever they tell you. That's your teacher. You respect your teacher. You do what your teacher says. All well and good if the teacher isn't malicious or, you know, all these horrible things that, you know, a teacher could be.
Right.
But most times, especially in public school, it ain't that.
Right. Exactly.
Girl.
Right. Like, so when you tell a child, this person is your elder, this person is da, 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 you have to listen to them. You have to, you know, if they say hug you, you have to take the hug. You can't say that you don't want to hug them, you know, and there's this whole thing set up where you're taught to please.
Yep.
And as long as you please, you survive. So people pleasing is almost seen as a
survival tactic.
It's like a survival tactic. So in the same way that, you know, you see a lion, your first reaction is to run. You see your manager come in, the first inclination is, I must please.
Whatever he says, I'm going to do.
Right. And it's dangerous because when you do that, you go against your values, you go against your boundaries, you go against the things that show yourself and the universe that you love yourself.
Right.
Because if I'm a person where I'm like, well, I don't really believe in drinking. Right. Let's say someone has a firm belief they don't believe in drinking.
Right.
A lot of people are sober.
Yeah.
And the manager's like, well, you need to come to this party and come take a shot with us. You need to take shots with us right now. Now, rather than you saying, not tonight, you're like, okay, well, I got to go take shots because my boss told me to
keep your job
because I need to keep my job. So people pleasing is something that everyone has, and it's very, very hard to fight it or beat it. It takes dedication and constant daily work to decide that you're going to lessen your people pleasing or at least be intentful with it. If you're going to people please, make sure you're getting a value back.
That's it.
It's a give and take world. It's a world of balance.
Yeah.
If you're people pleasing, make sure you're getting the check or the compensation that you agree upon to do it.
That's it. Don't be afraid to say no. A lot of people are so terrified, but these days, especially with the Panani, people are learning, I'm hoping, and I think they are, especially this, as we were saying, this time in our generation, we have no issues saying no. As we're seeing on the news every day, there's the great resignation where people are just saying, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of this foolishness. I'm quitting my job. Some of them don't even have a savings account, but they just say, you know what, I'm going to figure it out because they're tired of the abuse. And they can't take it anymore. And if you keep on people pleasing and trying to be perfect and pleasing society, all the universe is going to do is just keep on giving you more foolishness. It's like, oh, okay, you didn't say no to Josh constantly giving you work. I'm going to keep on giving you more people to come towards you and give you more crap you won't say no to. You have to learn to say no and put yourself first. That to-be list, that's where that comes in handy.
1000%. So one of the things that that's definitely everything you just explained, Carcia and Telly. Like that is definitely something I've learned, that part of my healing is I have to be reconstructing and reshifting my subconscious to where we be going. All right. To where we be going. And, you know, I really love in Mel Robbins, one of her newest books, The Power of the High-Fiving Yourself. I could be paraphrasing the title incorrectly, but like high five from yourself, is she speaks on a tool or way that helps to build the subconscious. Is like, say if you are a right-handed person, you would use like your opposite hand to touch your teeth and think that new thought. So automatically you are forcing a new path in your brain that helps to you know,
that's good.
Reprogram your subconscious. What do you guys got?
I know that Dr. Joe Dispenza, in one of the books that he wrote, I think it's like Being Supernatural, he talks about that. He says, you know, as humans, we get out of bed on the same side at the same time. You eat the same thing, drink the same thing.
We let the subconscious run, girl.
And he said, you know, the first step to changing that mindset is to do things opposite. So this, like you were saying, like brushing your teeth with a different hand, going a different route than you always go,
right?
Trying to change things to force your brain to relearn,
right?
And it's not the easiest thing, we know, to relearn things. It's very hard to unlearn, but it's also like, it's funny. This past 2 weeks, the movie The Matrix has been stalking Christy and I.
Love
it's
it.
been stalking us like crazy.
It applies to now like so
much. Okay,
my life and everyone else's life. Right?
The head grabbing,
literally everything.
The funny thing is, when you finally do get your subconscious to shift, you will feel like Neo, and you'll feel like something has just been unplugged.
Yeah, you'll feel limitless.
Out of your mind, and I've had many up to this day. I'll be like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there like a fool. I'm sure people are looking at me and wondering, why is this girl turning with her mouth open and looking like a fish? It's because I just realized that I'm constantly being unplugged from what's going on in society.
A moment for me the other day, I was in No Frills, and you know, I guess they set up the lines now in a certain way. And it was by the deep freezer section, and I have the section with all like the Michelins and lean cuisine and the pogos, like all those like frozen foods. And I was looking at it, and I was like, excuse me for my profanity, I was like, how the fuck was I eating this? Like, was I really eating this? Like, how am I here today? I was on the phone with my best friend, like, yo, how did we survive this? Like seriously, I'm looking at the box. I'm like, oh hell no! I was boxing all of these. Crazy. So that was definitely a recent moment that I can say that was unplugged. I noticed I unplugged without even unplugging.
Yeah. No, that's even the food that we eat.
It'll change.
It will change. Like it's amazing how the brain just give it a shift and everything. It's like you were blind and now you can see. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Girl, I'm like a nerd for this stuff.
No, and so am I. I'm like, oh my gosh, my time is going.
I know. But I do want to say too about the left hand, right hand versus thing. We do use that in my practice. I do use that for people to speak to their subconscious. So I will tell people to write a letter with their right hand, write themselves a letter and write to them, why are you this way? You know, why did you yell at your husband because he didn't take out the garbage? You know, write all that down. And then I want you, and they're always just like, I want you to respond and write a letter with your left hand and respond to those questions. And they're like, that's going to take forever. I'm like, no, what's going to happen is this is really, really funky. Your child, the inner child that y'all are talking about
comes right up,
will come out and answer those questions because it's your left hand and it feels like you're learning to write again. So the child comes out and they will answer the question. And you know what's great about kids?
They don't lie.
They don't
lie. And they're very direct. They're like, I don't like carrots.
They
don't say, well, when I boil carrots and I add a bit of salt, just like, I don't like carrots. Very direct.
Favorite example of that. I'm an auntie of 7. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
And one boy amongst the 7 right now. My apologies, 8. Oh, don't kill me, Zam.
Girl, it's okay.
You're new. I love you. Okay. So the only boy, right? And he already from early, like I noticed, like I kissed him and he was kind of like, you know, you gotta chill on that, auntie, like, you know, like I'm like, all right, but I still gonna hug you. Like really, and I worked with children for a long time, so I know like I definitely started asking like permission and normalize that for him, right? So we're in the kitchen with my mother and we're eating some food, and we usually call him like Jojo as like his pet name. And like my mom goes, Joe. And he's like, he stops, he puts down his fork ever so calmly. And he's like, that is not my name. And like, I'm dying with laughter because I know this is everything you just said, like everything. Yeah. So I know this and I know he's dead ass serious. Like, he's like, and she's like, what do you mean? Don't call you Joel. And he's like, my nickname is Jojo, or you can call me my full name, but I don't like Joe. And his like, he's still, and I was dying because I'm like, seeing my mom deal with the next generation, because I wouldn't have got that grace with her from the first time I opened up my mouth. That would have been a box. But seeing how she's having to learn from him, and he's like, yo, it's Joe.
I don't like that.
It's not Joe. Like, they're very everything you just said. So
and that's the thing, in a way. You want to tap into that person that wasn't afraid to say,
I don't like this.
I don't like this, or this is what I want. What do you want to eat for lunch today?
They
I
tell
want ice
you.
cream.
They tell you.
They tell you.
They're unapologetic about it.
Depending on, I recently weighed myself,
that
and
too.
I realized that I've put on some weight. So perhaps I should. Maybe I'll order. I don't know really what I want. But and you're there like half an hour talking about what you want
for dinner or
lunch. So there is a beauty in doing that work and becoming unplugged, and realizing that it's all on you. And that's another thing. It's all on you.
And that's the problem.
You're listening to this podcast, you're getting gems. It's great. But now you've got to take what we're all saying here,
do the work,
and you've got to start doing the work. You've mentioned books. Have you taken down the notes of those books, people?
If you don't do the work will work you.
That's it.
And you asked me earlier. Sorry, Telly.
Oh, I was just gonna say.
No.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say real quickly, with you talking about, like, taking the responsibility. That's the problem with this world today. No one wants to take the responsibility. We all just want to blame someone else, but not fix ourselves. So one thing that I hope people do take away from our show today is that they need to, step up to the plate and take that responsibility. I do hope so.
We're definitely going to have to do a part 2 and probably speak, just so that you ladies know, because I know you have to go, and definitely give me a signal when it's like,
we're still good, girl.
Yeah.
But like, it's too, okay. I just, I don't want to help.
We're being very Canadian right now. We're all like, so Canadian.
Sorry. But I don't want to help create that stereotype for wherever you got to go about Black people always be late, So I just, you feel me? So.
No.
Right, it's funny, with all the subconscious work that we've done, that's the one thing I still struggle with, getting the things on time.
Listen, I'm a Libra. I own it. It is what it is. Like, I try my best, but a bitch will be about 10-15 minutes late. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I tried.
So I would love to know, and like, I know, like, these conversations we're having, we can dig so much deeper, and it feels like so fast, but I know you guys will just need to replay, and definitely we will be needing a part 2, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I want to get a bit more, Carcia, into the NPL work with you, because something that, jokingly but not jokingly, I be saying to people, like, you ever watch Doctor Strange and learning to do all these things, like, and I went into a rabbit hole, like I was kind of sharing, with my YouTubing, and I was like, looking, and I found this documentary on like all these people that are really able to move like objects with their mind, or tapping into like the energies or people's like minds without having like the exercise and everything they were doing. It's just speechless. If I were to say it now, people would think I'm crazy. So that's why I'm so happy that you're really like a part of that work.
Yes.
What is something that you each would like have said you have learned from your inner child?
Ooh. Wow. Ooh. Well, you know what? The one thing that I've learned from my inner child, and this is something that really, it was hard for me to accept it, was that I wasn't meant to be the corporate person that I had been trying. I was a square trying to get into a circle. I was, and it literally took work for me to hear that, and heard it, and in my little girl voice, in a little dress that I used to wear all the time with pigtails. And it was me saying, you need to stop. You need to stop that, and you need to be an artist, and you need to go be a spiritual person. That's who you're supposed to be. And that's what it took for me to say, okay, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
And
that's when things start to flow.
Yeah. And that was hard because I was like, oh, but if I stop, my friends are going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to be like, girl, why are you doing this? What happened to this other person that used to love to spend lots of money and constantly be like buying and being buried in stuff and almost hoarding. I wasn't a hoarder, but I loved to keep stuff. And I was just very like, I need that. I need looking for happiness, I think. Right. And once I stopped doing what I was doing and embracing my spiritual side, I started, doing things like, how does one bend a spoon with their brain? Like that kid in the Matrix. How does one, there
is no
read auras? How do you protect yourself? How do you protect yourself so when you go out in the daytime, you know that you're going to come back in safely? Yes, Carcia, it's okay to say that you saw angels in your bedroom when you were a little kid. Like I started integrating more of that child that I was pushing away because I was like, sis, listen, I don't have time for you because you aren't the corporate Carcia that's going to climb the ladder and be a famous CEO. Like, but no, that was not for me. And that was the greatest lesson I got from my inner child. Because since I got that lesson,
life has been
it's
been good.
It's like I don't worry about where my manifestations are coming from. I manifest faster. I'm more at peace with myself. I like myself as I am, and I know that I can always be better, and I know that I have the resources to be a better person, and I'm fully confident in that. And that's something that a lot of people can't say.
That's so true. Very true. And that's true. That's it. For me, my inner child has taught me that it's okay to use your voice. Because when I was small, I was horrifically shy. I wouldn't say a single, now I can't shut up, but when I was a kid, I was horrifically shy and I wouldn't say anything. Even if I knew the answer to the question in class, my hand would I would stay down. I wouldn't say anything. And as I got older, I was like, okay, Telly, you can't get through, you won't get much in life if you just sit here like a mute. And it took a lot of work. And honestly, it still does take a lot of work because I'm always afraid thinking, will I say the wrong thing? I think so much that I think myself out of actually, I self-sabotage myself when it's like, okay, hold on. No, stop this. As I was even saying to Carcia this morning, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be afraid and I'm going to do it anyway. And even if I say it and it comes out sounding weird, or if I, do something and it doesn't look right to my eyes, maybe it will touch someone else. So my inner child has taught me that it's okay to use your voice and to use your words and know that you don't have to be on a stage of thousands of people like you're some kind of televangelist. Knowing that your words even helped one person is more than enough. Because we're all going through it. You have no idea what people are going through. As you were saying, Kay, before, you want to do things down with grace. I used to get so mad at people back before the Pinani. I get really mad if someone screwed up my order or something. Now I'm just like, that's okay. What are you gonna do? What's life? Life happens. I'm more chill now, and I'm more aware of my presence of me and what I'm saying to people. And nowadays, it's like I want to make sure that everything I do is with intention. From the words that I speak to the food that I eat, everything with intention. So my inner child has definitely taught me, your words matter. And more Black people need to get that through their head. Your words matter. Your words matter.
I received that. I know I only have like 5 minutes left.
Don't stop it.
No, I do, for real. I'm looking at the time. Like, Carcia almost has to go. It's like 5 minutes.
It's all your fault.
I'm sorry.
No worries. So man, there's so many questions I could ask, but I will try to finish off with this one, right? So one of the staple questions that we do ask here at Downtown World, Don't Waste No Time with Negativity, is you have the 5 elements: air, water, earth, fire, and spirit. Which element do you feel like individually represents you guys like the most, and why? or resonates with you the most?
For me, it's air.
Yeah.
Air represents me the most. And I say air because I'm always floating. Literally, I always feel like I'm floating on air. I am like this 99.9 every single day on cloud 9. And I just feel that with the being air, you can just push your positivity all over to people. That's the same way how air moves is how I feel my personality, hopefully, and words that I say and the aura that I give off, I hope that it just floats to other people and gives some joy to them. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I would say for you, I think you're fire.
How did you know I was?
I knew it.
She knows me really well.
She did.
So
I was getting that feeling. See my intuition.
I say fire because you know what? I've always had a connection to fire. Ever since I was a little kid, I've loved to light candles.
You do have a candle fest.
Yeah, I am fascinated with candles.
We can swap some candles later.
I just love a good candle. Another thing that I like with fire is that it burns things away. And I feel that, you know, anything negative or anything that is dense, heat, fire, it always seems to get rid of it. So I'm about fire. You know, I know that water kind of does the same thing, but that's the thing about water and fire, right? Like they're so different, but so the same.
True.
And yeah, fire is something that I definitely connect with.
Oh, I love that so much, ladies. I'm totally crying inside now because I really have to let you go. But seriously, really, and I'm saying it on camera too as a part of the episode, y'all, we gonna get a part 2. We gonna get these ladies back. We gonna get a part 2 because I know they have so much to give. And for what we weren't able to discuss, as I said, every episode, I could hear all the time you've taken in there, Carcia and Telly. So I really appreciate that. Go back and make sure you listen to, it's all connected by HerCastleGirls, and you can stream that on like pretty much all streaming platforms. But I want you ladies to let everyone know where they can find you, where they can support you, where they can follow you. And also we are normalizing how you prefer to be approached.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So
nice. I like that.
Yeah. So we are all over Instagram. Our handles are Carcia, HerCastle, Telly, HerCastle, and then we have our HerCastleGirls handle
and
Bright Mindset Project.
Yes.
Which is also, and all of these accounts are literally all about wellness, mindset, spirituality, personal development, and just how to be the best version of you. And
we also have a website.
We have a website, brightmindsetproject.com. So come check us out. And we are also on YouTube. Our podcasts are on all streaming podcasts, places where you can find podcasts. So find us on YouTube. You can search HerCastleGirls on there and you'll find us. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. Guys, this has been HerCastleGirls, Carcia and Telly. And today I was so honored for them to join us, Toronto Influence in the building. And they chose not to waste any time with negativity. They ate fruit, minded their business. And you guys will definitely need to rewind and just take a lot of notes and do a lot of Googles. Yeah.